Welcome to Shan for Crafts. My name is Shan. Today I got a recent request to make some more flowers. Now, this particular flower, they had asked me about this particular flower I made on my box, the one that's in the center right here, the paper one. Okay, now I did a whole tutorial that I had did on that a couple of months ago. Okay, but someone had requested another video about flowers, so I actually did a combination technique that I learned from YDontUCreate and Babber's 1691. Now, YDontUCreate used the method that I used here for the one on the box, okay? Where you cut it into 8 parts and then you curl it in and then glue the flowers together, okay? And I did a video on that. I'm gonna have the link to that video. I'm also gonna have the link to the other 2 videos, one by YDontUCreate and the other one by Babber's 1691, okay? Because I did a combination of the 2. The video by Babber's 1691, if you want to learn how to make paper flowers that look like this, the center, that'd be a good video to watch, because she actually had punches to punch the paper. I don't have any punches for that, so I had to come up with a way to still make the flower, and this is what I came up with. It's not exactly the same, but because I didn't have the punches that she had, I had to try to do it a different way. And this is what I came up with. This is a little card I made with one of the flowers I made. Okay, and on the show today, we're going to be making this little pink flower, okay? And if you want to see how I made this, please stay with me and I'll show you how. Okay, now to make the little flower, okay, that I have here, to make this, we're going to be using 4 circles. Each circle is a little bit smaller than the other circle. If you have punches that are like this, you can use your punches. But I don't have punches where each one is smaller than the other one. So I have a little mason jar. I have this here is a little plastic container that I use to store my crafts in. So I emptied that out. Actually, I put beads in here. I emptied those out. And I'm using the top of this. And then I'm using the bottom of this to do another circle, because it fits right in. Each one is smaller than the next. And then I'm using this little container for the circle, for the bud in the middle. So I'm going to draw these circles, and then I'm going to cut them out, and then I'm going to get right back with you and show you how to cut the circles for the flower. Okay. Also, if you have paper that is one-sided, which means it doesn't have a back, you can still use the paper. You would just cut out 2 sets of the circles, okay, like a front and back for this size, front and back for this size, front and back for that size, and front and back for that side, okay. Then you would take some craft glue right here, okay, and you would just glue the circles together. You don't need a lot of glue, just a little bit to hold together. And then you would just let them dry for about 30 minutes. And then after they dry, then you can start cutting them to use them for flowers. That's all you have to do for paper that's one-sided. Okay, now that we got our 4 circles cut out, okay, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and cut the circle, okay? And what you want to do, you want to make 5 cuts in the circle. Okay? You're going to cut half the way on one side. Go right to the other side, straight across from that cut, and cut not all the way into the, half the way. Okay, like this. Okay, like that. Okay? Okay, you see the slits, they're not all the way through there. And then you cut, go on one side, you cut right down the middle, but you don't cut all the way to the center, like that. Okay? Then for this side, you make 3 cuts. The same way, not all the way to the center. Okay, so it's gonna be like this when you get done. You see the 5 cuts? Okay? And that's 1 petal. Don't worry about the fact that 2 are bigger than the other 3, because it'll all even out in the end once you position the flower and glue it together. You're gonna do that for the rest of the rest of the 3 pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the rest of this out, and then I'll get right back in here. Now that you got all the pieces cut out, I got all these cut out. Okay, you got the 5 sections, 2 on one side and 3 at the bottom. Okay, what you're gonna do now is you're gonna take your scissors and you're gonna curve off these edges right here to make it into a petal. Now, if you can tear it, it's a lot better. Okay, if you can tear it, it's a whole lot better. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, you see that curved edge? And you're going to do the same thing with the rest of them. Just take off those edges. It don't have to be perfect, because when you put it together, you won't even notice it. But if you can tear the edges, it'll look more natural. But I have a problem. I can't tear because it hurts my wrist. Okay, so you just cut the edges off like that until you get a nice little petal, nice little section for your flower. Okay, just like that there. Okay, so when you get done, it should look something like that. Okay, I'm going to cut the rest of these out, and then I'll get right back. And for this next part, you may want to use a Q-tip. Now, this is optional. You don't have to do this part, but you can actually ink the edges if you wanted to. Okay, but since this is a light color, what I'm going to do to the edges, I'm going to put a little bit of white paint. I got a little bit of white paint on this piece of cardboard. I have this little Q-tip. And to use the Q-tip, what you want to do is pull a little bit of the fluff, not all of it. Just a little bit of the fluff off the tip and cut off a little bit of that. Okay? So that way you have a nice amount left to use your paint. Now I'm going to dip it in a little bit of paint. And I'm just going to put a little white paint on the edges. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to do this to all of the petals. And when I'm done, and it dries, I'll get right back with you. And then we'll start working on the rest of the flower. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a little paint on the very edge of the pink flower. Okay. Now you can ink the edges too, but I didn't have an ink that was, the inks I had would have made the flower darker, and I want this flower to be kind of light. So I'm using this method so I can keep my flower nice and light. And it don't take a whole lot, it don't have to be perfect. Okay, now there it is. Just got it right on the edges. A little bit of white. Okay, I'm going to do this with the rest of these. I'm going to let them dry. And when I'm done, I'll get right back with you. Okay, we're back. Now these have dried from the white on the edges. What I'm going to do is take a small, this is actually a little crochet hook. And I'm going to take the opposite end and I'm going to press that right into the middle, and I'm going to pull each petal around it to give it a curve in the paper. So it'll be like so the petal will have some shape. I'm going to do this with all of them. Okay, so the petal will look like that. I'm going to do this with all of them. Like that. Okay, now for the one that's the very last one, the very smallest one, it's gonna be used for a bud. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do this on the opposite side, not on the front side. This is just for the bud part, because when you do the bud, you want the front side to show. Okay, so when you cup this up and you make your bud, it's gonna cup up that way, and you're gonna see the white at the tip in the bud. Okay, so that's the only difference for the is for the one that's gonna be used as the bud in the middle. Okay, now once we have that done, we're gonna take some glue. Okay, and we're gonna start gluing the petals together. Okay, so what we're gonna do is put a little bit of glue here in the very middle. Okay, and we're gonna take this other petal and we're gonna line it up to where it's even. Okay, because remember when we cut it out, 2 were bigger than the other 3. But when we put it together, it's gonna all come together. Okay, and you just have to eyeball it and line it up. And what you want to do, you want to line it up to where you can see the other petals. Okay, so it's gonna be like that. You see where I put it to where you see the petal underneath between the 2. So you're gonna turn it to where it's every other petal. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of see the petal. So I'm gonna take this and do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna line it up and put it to where you see the other petals. So you can actually put it down since the glue is still wet. That's why I recommend using tacky glue or wet glue. So that way you can turn the flower like you need to before it dries. So you get a nice full looking flower and you see other petals underneath it. Like that. Okay? Now for the bud, you're going to just pull it all together. Like that. Just push it all together. Okay. So it'll be something like that, okay? And what we're gonna do is take the glue, put a little bit underneath here. Glue that down. You might have to hold it a while till it seals. Okay? You want to put glue where it's gonna keep it holding the bud together. Okay? You're gonna put that a little bit right there too. And just hold it together for a couple of, maybe about a minute or 2 until it starts to set. Just like that. Okay? Okay, so now it has set. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this finish drying, and then when I get back, we're gonna put this together, and then we'll have our flower done. Okay, now what we're doing now is we're gonna put the bud on. Now what I did, a lot of times the bud will not be even at the very bottom when you glue it down. So what I did is I went ahead and snipped the edge, the bottom off to make it even where it'll glue down. Okay, you just snipped across the bottom. Okay, that's the bottom part of it. And here's the top part, that's the wet. And that way it'll lay flat right on the bottom. Okay? So I'll put a little more glue in here. And just put it right there. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll get right back with you. Okay, I'm back. Okay, now for this is also optional. Just like painting the edges, you didn't have to do that part. But I wanted to do that, just to, give it a little variety. What I'm going to also do is put a little sparkly glue on the white, some of the white, to give it some more shine. Once again, you don't have to do this part. It's just something I wanted to do to add a little more interest to the flower. I'm not actually doing every single petal, just a few of them. Just to give it some more shimmer. Okay, and I'm also going to put some right at the top of the rose bud. Use some shimmer to the top of the rose bud. Put some in the middle right around the petal. So when you look down around the rose bud, you'll see a little sparkly glue down in the rose bud. See? Okay, I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to let it dry. And once it dries, I'm going to come right back to you. Okay, we're back. Now, this is all the flowers that I made over the last few days. Here's the flower that we made today on the show. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's sparkly glue on the edges. And what it does, it makes the flower have like a little shimmer to it. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. Okay, but this is the flower that we made today on the show. Here's the rest of them. Here's the red rose. Okay, that I made 2 of those, actually 3, because I put one on a card. Just a little card I made. Okay, and this is a little stamp that I had, a little heart stamp. Here it is. That I use for that, and I just cut out some black polka dot paper, and I used cream for the card, and I put the little rose there, okay, and this is some lace, and I cut out some leaves, okay, and in the inside it says music is love in search of a word. It's just a little card I made. Well, that's all I have for today. My name is Shan. I want to thank you for watching Shan for Crafts. And don't forget, I have pictures of all these flowers down at my blog, shanforcrafts.blogspot.com. Once again, I want to thank you for watching Shan for Crafts, and God bless. Bye-bye.